So fixing the skinny fat physique isn't quite as simple or as easy as just conventional fat loss. You can't really just drop yourself into a massive calorie deficit and expect to look and feel better. Because if you do this, you are going to lose muscle, you're going to become a smaller version of skinny fat, and it's going to be very difficult to actually lose those stubborn areas that you're already stuck with. So that kind of leads you into, well, should you go on a bulk? Should you go on a muscle gaining phase to try and fix the skinny side of the skinny fat physique? But generally speaking, if you've got body fat in your body that you dislike and you go onto a bulk, those areas are only going to get worse, they're only going to grow, and you're basically going to be feeling worse whilst you're trying to make progress. And not to mention at the end of that bulk, the cut that's waiting for you is going to be even bigger. And if you do that wrong, you may end up losing a lot of muscle. So it's kind of this, damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of scenario. Now you're probably thinking, well, why the hell should I listen to you? I'm going to put up a few transformations with my clients here. Over the past 10 years, I've been coaching men to lose body fat, but I've kind of niched in to skinny fat men over the past 7 years. And since then, I've got hundreds of transformations, before and afters, all naturally, no gimmicks, no fads, just following a proven strategy that works for skinny fat body types. So in this video, I want to give you the solutions on how to go about fixing that specifically. So let's start off with step one, and that is very simple. We need a strategy. Now what I mean by that is, like I said in the intro, we can't just jump your calories down to 1200 and expect the best, because in theory it sounds great, right? Eat 1200 calories, you're in a deficit, easy peasy. Well, are you going to stick to that for the next 6 months? Because you're probably not, and if you do, you're probably going to get ill, and you're definitely going to lose muscle, and the gym's going to suck, and you aren't going to fit that around your life. So it's not really sustainable, and it's not really applicable or going to help you out. But what about if we go on a bulk and we start eating to grow, and all the areas that you dislike, like the double chin, the side boob, and the lower back, gets bigger? Well, you're not going to really be very motivated to continue and keep force feeding yourself and growing. If you do get to the end of that bulk and you're thinking, oh, I've added some muscle at least, now you've got to do a mammoth of a cut, which could take you 6, 8, 12 months, depending on how bad it is. So the strategy is very, very important. And I've broken this strategy down into 4 main steps. So what I normally do, anytime a client comes to me and says, hey, I've got skinny fat physique, where are we starting? We start with a recomposition. And to put that simply, it's kind of like a cut, right? I get a lot of smart ass fucking comments going, oh, isn't that just a cut? Well, yes, any deficit is going to be a cut, but it's a little bit more precise. So let me explain. Let's say, for example, your maintenance calories are 2,500. A lot of people chuck themselves down to 1,500, right? 1,000 calorie deficit, and they lose 2-3 pounds every week, and they think, great, this is working. But then eventually they run on empty, they start to get dizzy and feel weird, and they're not really functioning well at work, and their workouts start to suck, and they just get really, really hungry, and they can't seem to keep it up with their lifestyle and social occasions, so they inevitably cave in, binge, or have a cheat meal, or whatever the case may be. Something breaks that camel's back, right? The straw that breaks the camel's back comes through, the floodgates open, and they just go back to normal, right? And then they get into this kind of perpetual back and forth of, right, I'm on it, let me starve myself, but I've fallen off, so I'll get back on it. Right, let me starve myself, and they get this kind of yo-yo dieting, isn't it, right? That's a scenario we want to avoid. Plus, like I said, you're probably going to lose some muscle if your default body is quite skinny. So the solution for this is a smaller calorie deficit. Well, hey, magic, exciting, a smaller calorie deficit. The reason for this is if we're aiming for a 300 to 500 calorie deficit per day, it's a little bit more sustainable. You're going to have a little bit more energy and you're going to manage it a little bit better, and it's not too drastically different to what your appetite's currently used to. So it's going to make it more sustainable, easier to manage, easier to be flexible with. But the key thing is here, we're eating in a deficit that we're losing body fat. Because the deficit's not massive, we're going to avoid going catabolic. We're going to avoid muscle loss, which means where the calories are also higher, you can still eat a larger amount of protein, again, further preventing muscle loss. So I would get you into a slight calorie deficit, 300, 500 calories below your maintenance based on your current training program. Stick to that and track it. That is step one. If we can nail that, that's going to fix 80% of you right now. I've had clients jump on calls and they go, right, I'm in my mid 40s. I've been trying to fix skinny fat for 10 plus years. I've been tracking, I've been training, nothing's working. And they join with me, we work together, we get their calories right, we look at the numbers and we easily see where they're going wrong. We lock those numbers in and hey presto, the results are coming in. But like I said earlier, what got you there won't get you here. Because we're tracking, when those calories inevitably plateau and the body gets metabolic adaptation, it just becomes very accustomed to what you put it through, we could then calculate and drop those numbers ever so slightly furthermore if needed, or on the flip side, increase the activity. So once the body becomes used to that sort of energy balance, we can then either drop it or increase the activity to further create the deficit so that we're gradually losing body fat, keeping muscle and making it sustainable. That means by the time you do get down to the lower numbers, maybe 1,800, it's a lot easier to stick with and your body's very accustomed to it, but you're still losing body fat and keeping muscle. Okay, so the numbers when it comes to food is very, very important. A recomposition, we're trying to keep muscle, potentially gain it and lose body fat, and we do that by having a smaller calorie deficit instead of a sudden extreme change that most people can't keep up with. And that's not all that goes into a recomposition. Another way to make sure we're keeping muscle is to get stronger in the gym, right? When people think, right, I need to lose some body fat, they go, right, cardio, running, fat burning classes, high rocks, all this like, wishy-washy stuff. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with those things, and if you enjoy doing those, if you enjoy cycling or hiking, it's only going to help you manage your calories, isn't it? It's great. But if you don't do any form of resistance training with a bias towards strength, why would your body decide to keep a bunch of muscle if you're eating less food and exercising? Right? The body doesn't need the muscle if you're not giving it a reason to. If you're in the gym, you're slowly getting stronger, you're at least lifting decent weight, it could be on machines, it could be compound movements, some form of resistance, then your body's going to be burning a lot of calories throughout that process. You're also going to be burning calories to recover and repair after those workouts. And if you do acquire more lean muscle tissue, your body now needs more calories to sustain it. So not only are we losing body fat, you're also building your capacity to sustain it in a long time. That's how my clients are able to keep their results by the end of it. So this is phase one, right? We do a recomposition. We have a slight calorie deficit, high protein, we get strength training in the program, we track it and we monitor it. And generally speaking, that's going to give you the majority of the results, right? That's how Reese, I'm going to be honest with you now, he only did a recomp. This whole transformation here was one recomposition. He gained a shite ton of muscle. However, you know, I want to be the honest guy in the fitness space. I am so sick of the lies, and that's why I make so many of these videos, because I got lied to for years, which made me get stuck for about 7 years when it comes to progress. Being honest, not everyone's going to gain the same amount of muscle in one recomposition. Some clients need to do a recomposition and they need to factor in some sort of lean growth phase. Like my client Avi, for example, he started off pretty damn skinny after training for several years. He'd done a lot of bulking and cutting, got stuck in what I like to call the bro cycle, where you do a bulk and then a cut and then bulk and a cut, and you kind of gain and lose the same bit of muscle, ultimately getting nowhere. So we locked him in, we went on a real lean bulk as long as we could to get as much natural muscle gain as possible. And you know, he stayed relatively lean, he still gained a bit of body fat, but that is going to happen, don't let anyone tell you otherwise. And then we did a recomposition after he gained the muscle to keep muscle and lose body fat, and boom, now he's gained muscle and gotten leaner. So some people need a different approach, and this is my point. We need a strategy. You have to have a strategy. We've got different genetics, different length of limbs, heights, needs, different responsibilities, different ages, different testosterone levels. We're all different. We've got different bodies, so we have to train differently. We need different strategies. You know, Jeff Nippard put up a video recently of him showing how much muscle he gained within a year. Fantastic video, and I do think Jeff Nippard is one of the best people you can follow and listen to on the internet. And the program he followed in there was absolutely awesome, right? Fantastic program, very optimal for natural lifters. However, after coaching hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of men, I can only think like 2 clients I work with that would be able to stick to that routine around their schedule. Because as you get older, you get more responsibilities, you got more people to look after, you're going to be more tired with your job. So most men, I'll be honest with you, can barely stick to 2 to 3 workouts per week. Yes, you could argue, make time, oh, there's always time, we've all got the same 24 hours. There is truth to that as well. But let's be realistic. If you're going to stick to this long term as a natural lifter, trying to build an amazing physique, when you have a crazy busy full-on schedule, it needs to meet you where you're at. Most of my client transformations I put on the screen, 2 to 3 workouts per week, 4 on the highest end. And I have very, very, very few clients that will do like 5 or 6. Like Matthew here, who managed to get an amazing transformation in 14 weeks, but he did train 5-6 days a week and he never messed up. So you want fast results, you've got to lock in and not miss a single sausage, right? Quite literally. But if you want a realistic, long-term, sustainable result, you're going to look at someone like Reese, who likes a few ciders on the weekend, works around food, so he's going to be tempted, goes out with his friends, travels, has some holidays, but you can still get a great transformation if you have the right strategy and you adjust with it. So strategy is very important. If you just go to the gym and wing it, it's just not going to work. You're trying to build a physique, right? If you're going to build a house, you're not just going to go, right, let's slap a few bricks and, oh shit, where's the cables going? Do you know what I mean? You have a strategy, there's a blueprint. Follow the blueprint. Speaking of blueprints, I have a nutritional blueprint here which will help you work out your calories and your numbers so you can get your calories and numbers right first time. So we've got a strategy, right? We're going to have a slight calorie deficit. We're going to train for strength. The next thing is actually freaking doing it. So many people will message me, hey mate, I need a plan. Oh, do you sell plans? Can you give me a workout plan? And I used to do them, right? I was like, here you go, I have a plan, whatever, da da da. Then I suddenly realized, when I've bought plans in the past off of fitness influencers and magazines and subscriptions, did any of them do anything for me? And I was like, well, I learned, you know, this exercise, this energy system, this variety. Cool, that's a nice tricep, that's fun. But then I realized a lot of them are either way too complicated to stick to on a regular basis. If you get to a gym and you're shattered and you've got 45 minutes to go and get a workout in, and it says, oh, superset deadlifts with freaking sledgehammer hits on the tire and then doing like freaking wall climbs or something, you're not going to get that in that gym, right? Sometimes it's hard enough to even set up a deadlift. So sometimes those workout plans are going to be unsustainable for the average Joe in the gym. Or it's all the same stuff. Pull, push legs, bench press, pull-ups, whatever, right? Because the basics work. The flash is trash without the basics. And I've found over the years that if you do the basics right and you tweak them so that they suit your genetics, so for example, if you've got long arms, maybe you'll be better off doing a machine movement instead of a bench press because of the limited range of motion, little details like that. But the bottom line is you're all going to be doing the same thing. And I realized that you can have the best plan in the world, and if you don't stick to it and don't actually implement it, it's not going to work. In fact, I actually had a client who gave it all this, right? He was like, hey, I want the best program in the world. The Rock has a coach. I want a coach. Give me the best program ever. He goes, don't hold back. I want the most extreme thing. So I spent ages on this plan. And you know, the dude's, you know, hard worker. So I gave him the benefit of the doubt. I know him personally. I was like, yeah, right, let's put together this amazing plan. Gave it to him. He's like, this looks brilliant. Can't wait to get started to it. First week, didn't do any of it. right? Oh, I'm busy, I'll get around to it. Okay, no problem. I'm human, I understand how it is. Cool, next week. Oh yeah, I haven't done anything, but I've done this like booty band workout I found on Instagram, and I thought he was winding me up. Like, what man is going, I want to build a physique, and they're going, no, let me just do this booty band workout. He wasn't joking, right? He was doing like glute bridges and like squat jumps with a little band around his knees, and I thought, okay, well, fitness conditioning, whatever, but the goals he wants of a big muscular physique, it's not going to get him there. And then he didn't do it. And I suddenly realized that he gave it all this, and he wanted the best case scenario, but he wasn't even able to stick to a very, very basic program, right? And that's not to criticize this individual. I'm saying that the plan doesn't matter if you ain't sticking to it. So start where you're at. If you've been sat on the couch and skipping the gym, you're not going to suddenly jump in there and keep up with Arnold Schwarzenegger's training program, are you? And do you even need to do that? Hell no, because you're not at that level of conditioning, you don't have his genetics, and you're not even on steroids, right? I hope not anyway. If you are on steroids, hit the dislike button. So we want a simple plan that you can actually stick to and fit around your lifestyle, right? I've had clients where we've worked with 3 or 4 workouts per week, and their work-life balance has gotten crazy, where they can only do a couple of workouts on the weekend. So we do a half-hour lower body, we do a half-hour upper body on a Saturday and a Sunday, because that works for them, right? So the workout plan, yes, you need one, but stop searching for one. Just pick what works and stick to it. You're better off going to the gym with the crappiest little ABC plan ever, or ask ChatGPT, right, which is pretty good these days, and say, give me a plan and follow it. As long as you stick to it and you do it consistently and the effort going in is good and that progresses over time, you're going to win compared to anyone that's got the best program in the world where they kind of half-ass it and don't do it here and there, right? Because I get asked for plans a lot. I know people go, oh, I've been getting these messages. People keep asking me. Genuinely do, mate, right? I was thinking about putting some screenshots on here, but I don't want to dox anyone. Like, hey, yeah, it's Tim when he asked me for that workout plan. What a dickhead. No, I'm not going to do that. Plus, there is no Tim that asked me that. I have a client called Tim. He's a legend. He's not a dickhead. Just to clarify in case you're watching this, Tim. But you get the point. So the plan is important. You do need to follow the plan, but actually sticking to it is the most important thing. Right, so we've got strategy, we've got actually doing it. The next part is track the lot. Now, I know I say tracking all the time. You're probably sitting there going, I know this, mate, whatever. The reason I say track is I've worked with clients that are consistent, that do train well, that do have good form, that do have great experience, and they're not getting anywhere. They've hit a plateau, nothing's budging, yet they're absolutely on it. And they're like, well, mate, I just don't understand why I'm going to the gym 5 days a week, hit my calories, hit my protein, nothing's working. And normally I'm like, well, are you tracking it? And they're like, well, yeah, sort of, but you know, it's about right. Okay, cool. So when they work with me, and we track it, and we do that consistently, I'm like, right, that's wrong. When you change that, the calories need to come down, the protein needs to come up, this workout's plateaued, you haven't changed this energy system here, we need to do this mesocycle, whatever it may be, right? There's always something we can pinpoint and change. And once you hit a plateau, once things stop working, you need to track and adjust. You need to be more precise the further you get into your transformation journey. And if you're skinny fat by default, then you need to be very precise, because you're not just trying to bulk. You're not skinny going to muscular, and you're not obese going to skinny. You're skinny fat. So you got to do both at once. You got to pick a strategy. You got to take it one step at a time and figure it out. So the only way you're going to do that is track things so they're precise. Because if you hit a plateau and you go, oh, I don't know what to do next, you're going to go, right, should I try high rocks? Should I do a marathon? You're going to get all distracted, chase 2 rabbits at once, catch neither one. That's why you need to track, so you know exactly what's going on. To be honest with you, I'm 32, right? I started this when I was 14. I made no progress from 14 to 20 because all I did was just jump from program to program, listen to this guy, listen to that guy, take his advice, brown carbs, no brown carbs, eat carbs, don't eat carbs, calories, no calories, pre-workout with creatine, that sort you out. Actually, don't have pre-workout. Caffeine's killing your gains. Get up early, don't get up early. Ice bath, hot bath, who cares, right? Everyone's flipping going on about different things. Then I thought, do you know what? I'm going to start with the absolute, common sense basics. Am I eating enough calories? Track. No, I'm not. Cool. Am I getting enough protein? Whew. Nowhere near. Track. There we go. Oh, I'm seeing more progress in a few months than I am in those 7 years. Okay, well, my training, I've been kind of just doing this, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. I'm getting a pump, but nothing's really going on. Let me just pick the main routine and master it and overload it and get stronger and add reps and improve my form. I'm making more progress. And in fact, I'll show you. Here's my transformation. I'm going to show you a photo of when I was around 14 to about 18, 19. Not much changing, right? And then from that 18, 19 to 20, still not much going on. But then I'll show you from 18, 19 to about, it must have been like 21, 22. I can't remember the exact ages, but here's 9 months of progress once I figured that out, right? Not the most amazing thing, but I did gain about 30 to 40 pounds, not pure muscle, right? I'm not going to sit and go, oh yeah, 30, 40 pounds pure muscle. I gained 30, 40 pounds on the scale, so I'm still pretty lean. So obviously that's carbs, glycogen, but muscle as well. Naturally, just by tracking and paying attention to my overload. So that's why I go on and on and on and on about tracking, because anytime a client comes to me and they haven't been tracking, or they have been, and we lock that in, the results are there. It's a numbers game. It's guaranteed. It's the rule and law of thermodynamics. You can't argue with it, right? You can try if you want, you can do what you want, but you know, if you want to keep arguing about it, I'd rather just get on with getting results. So tracking is vital. And again, like I said, get the nutritional blueprint so you can work out your numbers and get that right. You can use an online calculator as well. I'm not trying to say this is magical compared to everything else, but I have put some advice in there on how to adjust it, when to adjust it, and how I would go about it when I work with my clients. So we've got our strategy, right, which is going to be a recomposition if you're skinny fat. We now need to actually stick to it and follow through with it instead of searching for different plans. And then we need to track it. We need to track every single day, weigh-ins, progress photos once per week, track your food, track your calories, make it work, make sure it's accurate, and then you can do the fourth thing, and that is review it, right? Review. Because if you've been tracking your calories, tracking your workouts, tracking your weigh-ins, and you're not seeing progress, well, you might not notice that until you review it. And then when you review it, you can go, actually, I'll tell you what, I've been doing this wrong, that wrong, that wrong. Now I can tweak and adjust it. And the reason that's so powerful and so important, I do this every week with my clients, is because if you can identify an issue or something that's slowing you down every week, then you can adjust it every week, which means every week you're taking a step forward. You're getting better. It's like swinging a bat. And if you just keep swinging the bat and just winging it and hoping to hit a ball, oh, got one, great. Oh, missed 10. You're going to lose, right? But if you hit and go, okay, right, well, that I kind of came in a bit hard then. Let me slow it down. Okay, that's better, right. Okay, but I'm coming in a bit of an angle. Let me try this. If you keep tweaking it and tweaking it and tweaking it and keep trying, keep swinging, not like that. If you keep swinging, you're going to get better and better and better. You're going to refine it, and eventually you're going to be fucking good at it. So to get good at something, you have to do it repeatedly, but also progressively improve. And that is one of the biggest things. Once you've got over the hurdle of actually starting the gym and paying attention to your food, the hard part is then progressively improving yourself. And by reviewing things weekly and tracking everything, you get a visual representation of your progress, which helps you know what to do and what not to do. So every week, me and my clients do a check-in. We look through their weigh-ins, we look through their food, their macros, their meals, specifically their activity throughout the week, their workouts, their reps, their weight, their progress photos, whatever it may be, depending on the client and the goal. And sometimes they think they've had a crap week, and then we can go, actually, you've gotten stronger here, here, here. The photos look better, your waistline's come in, your shoulders are looking better, brilliant. And then they're like, oh, great, I thought it was a shit week, now I'm motivated and excited to carry on. Or it could be, right, this week's not been as good as you think, but it's because of this and this and this, so let's put a strategy to make this, this, and this better. Let's change that, change this, bang, next week, boom, there's some progress, brilliant. If we didn't do that review, if you don't pay attention to what you're doing, it could be 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, 4 months, or you get to the end of the year and go, actually, I haven't done anything. I haven't actually made much progress. And I'll tell you what the kicker is, right? Birthdays. Because birthdays are a reminder that you've just spent another year on the earth. When I get to my birthday, I think, what have I achieved since my last birthday? I was like, if it's not a lot, I'm not very happy, right? If I'm turning 33 in July, I'm going to look back and go, right, okay, what have I done since 32? I'm like, okay, I've done this, I've gotten better at that, I've managed to lose some body fat, I've gotten stronger, bought a nice car, like I'm going through the things that I've done, and then I'm like, okay, cool, I'm making progress, I'm doing something. What you don't want to do, and I remember this distinctly when I was talking about earlier, where I was, just 14 going on to about 20. I think it must have been my 19th birthday. I remember getting to my birthday, and I remember thinking, damn, it's been a year already since I've turned 18, and I don't think I've actually made any progress. And I suddenly had that realization that, yeah, I've been going to the gym, yeah, I've been drinking the protein shakes and taking creatine and having all the pre-workouts and eating chicken, broccoli and rice and pissing everyone off at work with my little tinned fish that stinks out the whole place. But I look the same. I was like, well, why? But that back then I didn't know. So then I go online and buy some program, follow that, and waste more time. Do you know what I mean? So let me just recap this here. If you're skinny fat and you're trying to lose body fat, we need to have a strategy. We need to actually implement that strategy. We need to track everything, and we need to review everything. If we take any of these out there, there's going to be a lot of guesswork. And if you're doing guesswork, you're not likely to get where you need to be. You're going to waste time. And that, look, I've seen it firsthand. I've been coaching for well over 10 years now. And the amount of people, I still have messages on my Facebook from when I first started out as a personal trainer saying, oh, I'll think about it. And then you look back now and think, oh, it's been 7 years since I spoke to that person. And they're still asking the same question on New Year's. Hey mate, what's the best meal plan? Do you know what I mean? Right? And I'm not trying to slag anyone off. I'm trying to point out that if you're not seeing progress and you're stuck, you might need some help. Or if you're brand new, take the advice I've given you and it should help you out, right? Or it could even just be the fact that, yeah, it's all good in theory, but actually doing it is hard. That's why coaching exists. That's why my clients work with me, so that I can help them implement it, take all the numbers, take all the burdens, review it, hold them accountable. And I didn't realize how powerful this accountability was till I had it myself. Even now, right? I'm on my Instagram, follow me by the way. Double plug, Elite Transformation Project, I'm posting like a little weekly update video of my cut that I'm doing, right? And I've realized just by having that weekly update, I've got to keep on my shit, right? I've got to get on it. I've got to hit my calories. I've got to train hard, because every week I'm taking a little video of my back. I want to make sure it looks good. So you take away that accountability and my mate goes, hey, do you want to go for 10 pints? I'm like, all right, then, doesn't matter. No accountability, no structure. Let me go backwards and regret it in a few months. Or I can go, actually, mate, I might have a couple of gin and tonics because I'm taking a photo on Monday and I want to make sure it look good. And that's what my clients have. I saw my clients, Connor, we were at a pub, as you do. Not looking good, am I, for a fitness guy? But yeah, we was at a pub. And to be fair, we had one whiskey and Coke and that was it. But we were at a pub and he was saying, mate, do you know what? He goes, just knowing that you're seeing what I'm doing helps me do it. And I was like, exactly, that's the power of accountability. So all that being said, I hope the advice in this video has actually been very helpful. Don't sleep on the things I've said here. This is the compilation, is that the right word? This is compiled of, from the age of 14 to, unfortunately, almost 33, first-hand experience on myself in the fitness industry and working with hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, if you count all the women I used to coach back in the day as well, of people that I've coached. And I've learned so much about the process, the mentality, the psychology, and the real-world application of it. So please take these 4 steps seriously and implement them. You can use the nutritional blueprint down below to get the numbers right. If you have any questions, you can drop me a comment. You can follow me on Instagram, message me there if you have any questions. And if you'd like some one-on-one help with me, the same help that all my clients had to actually implement this and have the strategy and actually hold you accountable and support you through it and adjust it for you using the tools and tricks that I use, you can book a call with me to discuss working with me. In the bio. The spaces aren't always available, I will say that now, because at the moment, as the time of this recording, I have about 2 or 3 spaces, and I think I've got about 2 or 3 people waiting to join. So I might already be full, but if I'm not, click the link and see if there's any spaces. And if you're on a bit of a binging learning journey, watch this video here, where I break down the truths that I wish I knew about skinny fat years ago, which could save you 7 years of wasted time. Go and watch it, and have an absolutely fantastic day.